Do you have any idea how many hundreds of millions of people in this world have to volunteer their time after work or on weekends to gain just a fraction of the personal fulfillment that you can enjoy working full-time and drawing a salary for it? That is a wonderful perk. How many people in this world can say that? Doctors, social workers, preachers. It's a very small club. Just because it's not tangible doesn't mean that it's not real. I know you can't pay the bills with it, and that's a real shame, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have great value. Don't stick your nose in the air like a sophisticated student and just dismiss that as meaningless. That is a real perk, as real as your health care, as real as your pension. That has great value. You should thrill to that. Let me ask you a question. Is there a fire burning in your belly to transform the lives of the students? Now, because I'm magic, I can read your mind. There are 63 people in the room right now thinking, catch a clue, we're not all teachers. I know that, and it changes my point not one whit. Regardless of your job description, even if you're mowing the lawns or painting stripes on the football field or putting a bright sheen on the hallway floors, you should do it because you believe in the dream, because you are an integral, an indispensable part of the team that makes a difference in the lives of the kids. If you're driving a bus, you're not just driving a bus. You're taking your kids from home to school. And when they get there, that's the only way they can learn. And you custodians, if you don't keep the air conditioner on, they're not going to be able to concentrate. And you cafeteria workers, if you don't feed them, they won't hear the teacher over the growling of their own stomachs. And so I ask you again, is there a fire burning in your belly to transform the lives of the students? Does it burn so brightly that it keeps you awake nights? And when you finally fall asleep, do you find yourself dreaming about it? And when you wake up the next morning, is it one of the first thoughts on your mind? And as you go through your workday, do you find yourself scheming and dreaming about ways to do it better? If you don't have that type of a passion, you will never know the personal fulfillment in life that is your absolute birthright as an employee of the school system. And you will never be as effective as you could otherwise be because you'll never give the students a disease that you do not already have. Let me encourage you never to become jaded, so preoccupied with budgets and facilities and government regulations and testing that you forget why you do what you do. Would you permit me to offer humbly a little piece of advice? And even if you forget everything else I say and do here today, that you will try to make this a reality in your life. Here it is. Avoid and resist cynicism. It is a black hole. And if you allow yourself to wander within its gravitational field, it will suck the life out of your soul, the light out of your eyes, the joy from your heart, and the marrow from your bones. The bright, beautiful, bubbly person you used to be will disappear forever. And a woman came up to me, shuffling, shoulders slumped, her head bowed, like she'd lost her last friend. She introduced herself and told me that she was in special ed. And those of you in special ed, there should be a special place in heaven for you. In fact, if heaven has a first-class cabin, you should be permanently upgraded. I worship the ground you guys walk on. But she said she was in special ed and thanked me for my presentation. And she said, I'm sort of, kind of, somewhat, mildly inspired. I said, wow, that's not a very ringing endorsement of my presentation. I thought she was putting me down. She said, no, that's good. I never thought I'd ever feel this way again. I think that I can go back to work now. Now, folks, if that's as far as I can get you today, I'll take that. But I hope I can pull you a lot further. Will you do me a favor? Will you allow me to at least try to take you on a journey back to the days when you were enthusiastic, back to the days when you were idealistic, back to the days when you got into this because you really believed you could make a difference in the lives of the kids? Will you do that in good faith with me? There was once a monk who was overseeing a church building project. He went out to the construction site to see how progress was coming along, and while there he saw 4 men chipping stones. He asked the first, "My son, what are you doing?" The man scowled. He said, "Father, I'm chipping stones." He turned to the second. He said, "My son, what are you doing?" The man matter-of-factly said, "Father, I'm constructing a wall." He walked over to the third. He said, "My son, what are you doing?" The man smiled. He said, "Father, I'm building a cathedral." He walked over to the fourth. He said, "My son, what are you doing?" The man's face lit up and he positively beamed as he said, "Father, I'm advancing the kingdom of God on earth, one stone at a time." Here are four men doing exactly the same job, but with a totally different passion level, certainly a different job satisfaction level. I believe that it is your solemn duty as an employee of the school system to ruthlessly discipline yourself every day that you come to work to give that fourth level of an answer. I wonder if six months from now I were to walk up to one of you teachers in disguise and just casually ask you what you're doing, what would you say? "I'm making out one more homework assignment for the students to completely disregard." Are you cafeteria workers? What would you say? "I'm making the same freaking green beans in the same freaking pot on the same freaking stove that I've been slaving over for 25 freaking years. And that's longer than freaking has even been a word." You bus drivers, what would you say? "I'm driving the same rattle-trap bus down the same bumpy roads I've been driving for 15 years. Or would all of you, regardless of your job description, be able to step back, climb the mountain, and look down from a broader perspective and answer like that fourth man did? And say, "I'm making sure the kids of Jessamine County one day go to college instead of jail. That they live in houses instead of under bridges. That they drive reliable cars instead of death traps. That they have careers instead of jobs. That they grow up with pride and self-esteem instead of shame their whole lives. Come to think of it, I'm probably making sure that their kids and their grandkids follow suit. I'm transforming the world, one ignored homework assignment, one pot of green beans, one bumpy bus route, one pretty swirl on the gym floor at a time." Never allow yourself to forget why you come to work in the morning.